As of Monday morning, Cuba evacuated 180,000 people on Sunday during fears that Elsa could cause heavy flooding after battering several Caribbean islands, killing at least 3 people. The Cuban government opened shelters and moved to protect sugarcane and cocoa crops ahead of the storm. Now, most of those evacuated went to their relatives' homes, while others went to shelters provided by government facilities. Now, hundreds living in mountainous areas took refuge in natural caves as they prepared for the emergency. Now, according to the National Hurricane Center, Sunday, Elsa had maximum sustained winds of about 60 miles per hour. A storm surge of 3 to 5 feet is expected along the southern coast of Cuba. And of course, be sure to stay tuned to OCTV on air and online as our meteorologists continue to keep you updated. Meantime, Elsa strengthened into the first hurricane of the Atlantic season on Friday as it blew off roofs and snapped trees in the eastern Caribbean, where officials closed schools and businesses and airports. The Category 1 storm was the first hurricane to hit Barbados in more than 60 years, unleashing heavy rains and winds on the island and then on St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which are still struggling to recover from that recent massive volcanic eruption. Now, authorities in Barbados said they received calls about families trapped in their homes, collapsed houses, and power outages. Authorities opened dozens of shelters in St. Vincent and urged people to evacuate if they lived near a valley, given the threat of flash flooding, mudslides, and lahars, now especially on the northern part of the island. Again, this footage on your screen is from Friday. And switching gears now, the Turks and Caicos is seeing a boom in the construction industry, and a shipping company's new barge is helping to develop and grow the islands. One Caribbean News' Deandra Hamilton reports.
The largest locally owned barge is now in country, and it expands the service of Luwan Shipping as the Turks and Caicos Islands experiences a boom in the construction industry. And the barge figures prominently into how heavy-duty equipment and materials needed for the building projects will be hauled around the archipelago.
Equipment on these islands that it can't carry, a bulldozer, excavator, and it's built with 3/8 steel on the side, 1/2 inch on the bottom.
Luwan Shipping a year ago was devastated by the loss of its barge, Lilu. Today, after an 11-day journey from New Orleans, Louisiana, where the vessel was custom built, the company is celebrating the arrival of the Lu Sun. With longtime clients and a pastor to bless the vessel before it set sail on its first journey, which was from Providenciales to South Caicos, Luwan Shipping was ready to talk about the 180-foot long barge, which is also 36 feet wide.
This boat, the Lu Tide, made 11 trips to Grand Turk in 6 days. Had the ship came out there in a helicopter, bring a supply container, drop it on the deck of the Lu Tide, and we took it to Grand Turk. If there's a fire engine shortage, you can't land an airplane in Provo. Can you put an airplane in the Caribbean?
No way.
You can't put a fire engine on in the Caribbean. You gotta put it on a boat.
Indeed, Luwan Shipping was essential to hurricane recovery efforts in 2017. Over the years, the company has hauled from donkeys and horses to utility poles and excavators, food containers and cars. And with his son and grandson now involved, Mr. Llewellyn Hanfield says the next generation legacy is secure.
If you don't have this bridge, you cannot develop it. Daddy told me this 36 years ago. He said, boy, you all talking about development. If you don't get boat transportation again, you can forget it. And that's true.
And that was our Deandra Hamilton reporting. Well, the first cruise ship to leave a U.S. port since the pandemic started wrapped up and returned to Fort Lauderdale on Saturday. Passengers had traveled to Mexico and the Bahamas, but the ship had another distinction: its groundbreaking captain. Reporter Janet Shulman met her at sea.
Tell me what you see.
When she's not charting course on the bridge of the Celebrity Edge,
How are you?
you might find Captain Kate McHugh just about anywhere on board, even officiating an at-sea wedding.
I, Bradley, take you outward.
McHugh was at the helm of this week's historic cruise, the first leaving a U.S. port since the pandemic. She's also the first American woman to ever captain a mega cruise ship.
You dreamed about this as a child. Was this the goal?
This was the end result of dreaming since I was 12 years old when my parents took me on my very first cruise.
TV's big hit, The Love Boat, had her yearning to be cruise director, the only woman she saw in a position of authority.
My dad said, you can do anything you want in the world, including drive the thing, and that was the seed that was planted. Hi there.
McHugh has become somewhat of a celebrity in the cruising world, but maybe an even bigger star off the ship. More than 2 million TikTok followers. She travels the world with her hairless Sphinx.
Look at the camera.
Bug Naked is a star in her own right. 50,000 Instagram fans.
So how many bow thrusters do you think we're going to have for departure?
The captain already inspiring officers
The weather
like these.
forecast?
During the pandemic, McHugh spent 318 days aboard the Edge, her relief unable to reach the vessel. Now, with passengers back on board, there's no place she'd rather be.